Well, I'm very grateful to be invited to be here and to say a few words. And I didn't think in 1952 that I'd live long enough to be here on the 60th anniversary of the ownership of this building.
Not this building.
But here we are.
Next door.
And I want to start by saying that I was a student at Penn College at the time, and in the 1940s, and I was invited up here to do some work with AFSC, and we had a little cubbyhole office on East Locust Street. And it was an office to run what they called the international affairs gatherings here every year. And George Willoughby, whom some of you may know, who is recently deceased, by the way, was in charge of these institutes. And so, to make a long story short, after I graduated, I was invited to join the staff here, a very small staff it was, to make this into what they called an area office of AFSC. Very informal, and a staff of about 4 or 5. And when I finished, I had offered a job here, so I came, and by then we had a house out on East University. I think it was 1116 East University. A large residence building was used for an office, and that building has long since been demolished, so we can't go back there to celebrate. So the thing was, we had a farmer and his wife from New Providence. His name was Roy Clampett. And if I could have my way, I would have a plaque or a photo or a statue of Roy and Pauline Clampett right here in this building.
Yes.
Now, some of us get a lot of credit for having been here and having helped bring this about. But Roy and Pauline Clampett, retired farmers in Hardin County, came down here every week, weeks and weeks, drive down here to do the material aids program of AFSC, which after the war was big stuff. And people were bringing in used clothing by the carload. And Roy and Pauline labored in the basement here, or there, I should say, first, and sorted and mended and packaged tons of clothes that went all over the world. But the building over there was just too small. So one day, Roy and Pauline came down to my office, because I was sort of the financial person, and they said, we've been talking during the night, and we've decided that we need a bigger place. He said, and we have agreed to put a mortgage on our family farm to raise the money so we could buy a place of our own. Well, that was coming from them. I was very surprised. But they had the money, and they offered it. So word spread quickly that we had a possible financier for a new building. Well, it happened that George Willoughby saw an ad in the paper of this property right here being for sale, $40,000. So we all marched over here, and I remember coming over here with that group, with the realtor, and we saw this magnificent one-family house that the owners had taken good care of, and it was a beautiful place to see. And immediately everybody said, hey, this is what we want. This is what we've been looking for. And, but with Roy and Pauline offering that initial fund, a few others chipped in, and one of them deserves credit is Jay Newland, who was very active at that time. So Jay Newland and Roy Clampett raised the down payment. And in those days, $40,000 was quite a bit of money. And it looked big, and we didn't think we could swing it. But we did. And within a year, we had moved in here to this beautiful house. And it was just such a beautiful change. And Roy and Pauline had that whole basement downstairs for their material aids where